Yo, what up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, aka DFS Dudes, and we're here to present you our NFL Week 8 wide receiver picks. If you're new to this channel, please make sure to click the subscribe button below. This week, you'll watch all of our NFL, NBA, and MLB videos. And if you haven't went and checked out our new website, dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily cash lineups for Fanduel and Draftkings. Hey, we got everything. One-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure and check out the website at dfscheatsheet.com. And one thing I'll quickly note, too, before we get going, I don't know why we decided to do this, but today we decided to make it under one membership, our VIP $59.99 membership. You get full access to the optimizer. You get all the content. Plus, you're going to get our cash lines for NFL and NBA. We decided to put it all under one package. You got to look at it as an investment. You're spending $60 in a month to make thousands of dollars. Honestly, I think that is definitely something you should definitely think about doing. So check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. So how you doing out there, Jeremy?
What's up, man? Back at it. Monster NBA night. Had a good night in GPPs. DraftKings for you was fire.
Right, went crazy. The cash lines into the members for DraftKings went nuts. On FanDuel, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason that we on FanDuel, it wasn't that we had a bad line. It was, tonight you had to have two of the three. Two of the three, meaning Embiid, Griffin, and Anthony Davis. If you didn't have two of those three guys in your lineup, I mean, there was no way that you were going to cash that. That's just how it ended up coming out. Our lineup was a little bit more of a balanced lineup, and most of our guys, hit value or very close to value. But they didn't have those monster nights like, the three big ones that I just mentioned. Also, JJ Redick had a great night, 40-something plus fantasy points, crushed value. So, yeah, it was. You had to go a stars or scrub night. That's how it was if you wanted to cash on FanDuel. Overall, though, made some money tonight with DraftKings. Very, very good night. And let's get into this wide receiver video. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll get it started off. The first guy I'm going to go with is Davante Adams for Green Bay. I understand that he's going against the Rams, and, you're like, you guys are probably thinking, why are you going Adams going against the Rams? But you know what? Aaron Rodgers is special. We all know that. Aaron Rodgers is special. He's going to have to throw in this game. I suspect that they're going to be behind. Rams, they have the highest. Is it the Rams? If not the highest, yeah, the Rams have the highest. I'm sorry. I'm confused. Okay, yeah, the Rams have the highest implied total on the slate. The Packers are going to be chasing the Rams, in my opinion, pretty much throughout this whole game. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball, and Davante Adams has 14 targets. He's averaging 14 targets a game the past 3 games, and he's making good on those targets. He's getting 8.5 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns already on the season. So while it's not the best matchup, Davante Adams he's kind of like right there in the same class almost as Antonio Brown now. I don't want to say he's better than Antonio Brown or he is Antonio Brown, but his quarterback find ways to get him the ball, and he's almost matchup proof right now with the amount of targets that he's getting from Aaron Rodgers. So I like Adams as my first pick of wide receiver this week.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they're going to be playing from behind most likely. Green Bay's implied total is 23.5, so they're just about a 10-point underdog in the game. Actually, the line is -10 for the Rams. So 10-point underdog. They're going to be playing from behind. We talked about this earlier with Jimmy Graham. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to get the ball out of his hands fast. This is the dude that runs a slant route for him. They run the screen game on the perimeter for him as well. Huge red zone target. We saw that last week. They like to run in-out combos with him on the outside with the slot receiver in the flat, him running a slant. I like the pick. And this is a classic example of teams that are big underdogs. You like to take their passing game because they're going to have to throw the ball to either come back or stay in it.
Right.
So we'll go to my first pick. the first guy I'm going to go with is AJ Green, $8,800. AJ Green having a pretty productive year so far. Sixth in receiving yards with 611 yards. He does have 5 receiving touchdowns already. You look at the last 2 weeks. You can even go the last 3 weeks. If you go back to the Miami game, he had 10 targets. Pittsburgh game, he had 12 targets. And then last week against Kansas City, he has 14 targets. 2 of those games are 100-yard games. No touchdown in that game, or those become monster 20-point games. I think he's due this week. This is a really good matchup for Cincinnati this week. Going against that Tampa Bay defense we like to pick on so much. Use the word earlier, streamline. I think we can streamline wide receivers. Jarvis Landry last week with the big week. AJ Green should definitely have a very productive week. Just a perfect fit for me with Antonio Brown not having the greatest history at the same price point, not having the greatest history against Cleveland. He's kind of come up short in a few of those games. I love AJ Green in this spot.
Yeah, no, I like him. I definitely think he's a very good player. I mean, every week we're picking on that Tampa Bay defense. Go right back to the well. We've seen what Jarvis Landry did to Tampa Bay last week. This week, I expect even more from AJ Green. He has a much better quarterback in Dalton compared to Baker Mayfield, in my opinion. So love the Green play. I definitely think it's a really good call. The next guy I'm going to go with is going to be in the same game as my previous pick. It's going to be on the other side of the ball. It's going to be Robert Woods. I mean, the guy's good. Plain simple. The price tag didn't move from last week, and it's in the same situation. Green Bay's defense isn't very good. We see San Francisco move the ball on them. You go back to the Rams. They still got no Cooper Kupp. Rams have the highest implied total on the slate. And I could definitely see this game possibly getting into a shootout for one way or another. Aaron Rodgers always figure out ways to get points. He's just like Tom Brady. Those are just a couple quarterbacks that you can't count out. You're not going to shut those guys out. They're going to put points up. Robert Woods last week, he only had 7 targets with Kupp being out. But I think that was more kind of how the game script went. Todd Gurley went absolute bonkers. 3 touchdowns for Todd Gurley. The game was out of hand pretty early. So, I mean, for most of the second half, I mean, especially the fourth quarter, they had a lot of backups in. They didn't really have their starters. If it would have been more of a close game and went down the line, Woods would have got what we projected, close to 10 targets last week. So I'm going to go with Robert Woods for the Rams at 7.6 as my second wide receiver pick.
I like all of the offensive pieces on the Rams side in that game, so I have no problem with Robert Woods. I actually like both of them. We'll get to – actually, we can just jump right into it. I'm taking Brandon Cooks with my second receiver, $7,500. Pretty much you can highlight exactly the same things you just said about Robert Woods. 569 yards receiving so far, 2 receiving touchdowns. This guy's the big play guy for them. I mean, he's the guy that's going to stretch the field. He had some really, really big games at the beginning of the year. 15.1 on only 4 catches last week with a touchdown against the 49ers. His targets have kind of fallen off just a little bit. He was pretty much steadily averaging 8 to 9 targets in the first 4 weeks of the season. The last 2 weeks, only 6 and 5. But you look at the Denver game, and that game was when Cooper Kupp went out, it kind of turned into a Todd Gurley game. And then last week, like you said, Gurley just went off. I think that there's going to have to be a lot of points scored. We already see the implied total at 33 for them. This could turn into a shootout. I like all of the weapons around Jared Goff this week. Brandon Cooks is who I'm going with the 7,500 as my receiver number 2.
Yeah, I love him. I definitely thought that he was somebody that I was hoping you would mention. I love this game. I know that Rams defense is good, but they're going against a special quarterback. I mean, that's just really where I'm at with it. So I'm going to go into my last pick. I'm going to go right back to the well. And we're going to go with Landry for the Browns. Landry last week, he finally had that game we've been waiting for. It wasn't even a monster game, but he did well. He got 15 targets, caught 10 of them for 97 yards and a touchdown, 20 fantasy points, 6.7 price tag. He's very, very underpriced for a guy who's second in the league in targets. I understand he's not converting them, but it's just a matter of time before he starts catching more of those balls. Perfect example was last week. I think this guy is an absolute cash game lock. On Fanduel at a 6.7 price tag. He went against Pittsburgh earlier in the year with Tyrod Taylor was quarterback. He caught 7 passes for 105 yards, 14 fantasy points. Already did well one time, in this matchup. So I think that slowly but surely he's building a little rapport with Baker Mayfield. We seen it a little bit last week. So I like Landry as my final wide receiver pick this week.
Yeah, I mean, go right back to the well. And, like you said earlier, we know that Baker Mayfield likes 2 guys he trusts throwing the ball to there, right? And that's Njoku and Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry, we've mentioned it so many times this season. He's a premier wide receiver. He has a good matchup. We've attacked Pittsburgh in the past. It's kind of a streamlined pick. Just move Landry into that spot where we've attacked Pittsburgh's defense. Last guy I'm going to mention is $7,800, Tyreek Hill. This guy's just electric, man. He's a beast. There's just no other way to put it. He only had 54 yards receiving in the first matchup against Denver, but he had 9 catches on 13 targets. The thing that I like the most about targeting Kansas City players is in games like this, these division games, you've seen Andy Reid pull trick plays out, right? And either Tyreek Hill will break a big play on the fly sweep. They'll run a jet sweep. He'll make a huge special teams play. Andy Reid's going to be creative in this game, I can guarantee you, because it's the second matchup. He'll be creative with how they use Tyreek Hill. I think that he goes off again. The targets are there. The targets have been there really the last 4 weeks. The catches are there. He's had a monster game against the Patriots where he had 3 touchdowns for 142 yards on 7 catches. He doesn't need a lot of production to hit huge points because the guy's so electric. He can take a 1-yard screen pass and literally take it to a 70-yard play for a touchdown. So big players make big plays in big games. I know Denver's not everything that everybody thought they might be coming out, but this is a division game. It's a division rivalry. I look for Tyreek Hill to have another monster game.
Yeah, no, I love the pick. He's in my top 5 of wide receivers this week. Definitely, a guy that you got to have on your radar at an under 8,000 price tag, 7.8. The guy should be a little bit more expensive for what he's been doing on the season. Like you said, he just needs a 1-yard pass to break one. I mean, that's all he needs. Great play. So, I mean, that's all I really got for wide receivers. One guy I'll quickly just throw in there for you. I definitely think you got to take a look at Jordy Nelson for the Raiders. No Amari Cooper, who went to the Cowboys. He's their number 1 receiver now, and he's had a couple really good games already this season. I definitely think his targets are going to go up. He's going to get at least 8 to 10 targets at a 5.3 price tag. I definitely think you got to consider Jordy Nelson. But outside of that, I think that's all I got for wide receivers. Are you good with wide receivers? Ready to get out of here?
Yeah, let's move on, man. Come back with these NBA.
For the couple of you guys that are checking this out, we're going to be back shortly with our NBA breakdown for Wednesday, October 24th. So, yeah, hey, check us out. We'll be back shortly, and let's get it. Take care.